Hey there, Coastal Bend. I'm meteorologist Carly Smith. We are breaking down just some rainfall trends. I don't expect this to be too long unless y'all interact and ask some questions. And if I don't know it, I'll try to answer it tomorrow. So thank you so much for joining. I hope you're having a great lunch break, a terrific Taco Tuesday. I haven't decided where I'm eating tacos yet, but I will be eating some tacos or some sort of Tex-Mex later on today. So that's what we're looking forward to, but let's go ahead and get into some of those graphics. So what we're talking about is El Nino heading into winter. Chief Meteorologist Alan Holt has an amazing write-up on what an El Nino means for us in the Coastal Bend. And essentially that means the subtropical jet is going to be pretty strong. That means rainier conditions than average. And when you've got the subtropical jet, that is tropical. So that's more equator area air typically than polar air, right? So yeah, it's going to be cooler, but that's just because it's raining. That doesn't necessarily mean we're gonna have the polar cool downs. That doesn't mean it can't happen, right? Tomorrow, I'm gonna break down some of the temperature trends, either tomorrow or Thursday. And let me know if y'all are interested in this. How's the weather for 11/11? That's a little ways away, but I will look into that, Benjamin, for your wedding, and we'll discuss it maybe tomorrow if you watch then. So it's going to be likely the trends tend to be rainier than normal for El Nino. And here's how we've shaped up as far as our top 10 rainiest October through February. So this is including late fall through the winter. So our late fall months through the winter, as far as the top 10 list goes, the ones highlighted in orange. So the orange highlights, that's going to be 1957 through 58, 86 through 87, 97 through 92, 58 through 59, 94, 95, 97 through 98, and 09 through 010. Those falls and winters were El Nino. So that means that 7 of the top 10 rainiest winters, late fall winters on record have been El Nino. The ones in white, that is neutral. So that means the Pacific isn't showing signs of being warmer or cooler than normal. It's just about normal. And so on normal ENSO years, or El Nino Southern Oscillation, essentially we have had the rainiest period during an El Nino period. So that was 1960 through 1961, but there's no La Niñas on this list. Something also interesting there are a few El Ninos on the driest list. So just because we are going into an El Nino winter period, that does not guarantee above normal rainfall. It doesn't guarantee it. In fact, the driest period on record between October and February did come in 1950 through 51 when we only picked up 1.74 inches. And so that was an El Nino winter. Now there are other factors that go into play in El Nino. The temperatures in the Pacific are not the only influence that we have on our weather. There's also oscillations in the Atlantic Ocean and so forth. So we've got a lot of different things that come into play. So going into El Nino is not a guarantee, but there are true signs that show that wetter winters are more likely during an El Nino winter. And so on this list, we have 4 neutral winters and late falls, and then we have also 4 La Niñas. So there was no La Niña on the top 10 wettest period, but there are La Niñas in the top 10 driest. So that's an interesting fact. Happy birthday, Sophie. The weather is like today. So yesterday, today, tomorrow, all pretty much the same. Maybe you like that, but humid, pretty windy, and rather warm conditions in the afternoon especially. So now, going back to our wettest and driest, in general, this is what the numbers have shown. So 11 out of 24 El Nino periods, we have seen above average late fall winter rain. And that above average number I went with was about 10 inches of rainfall. And the way we get that 10 inches, remember, an average is not a median. An average is when you take all the numbers, add them together, and divide it by the amount of years that you're looking at. And so we have, remember the difference between our top 10 driest and our top 10 wettest? Our wettest period, 25.16, our driest period, 1.74. So I do think we tend to have more numbers, more years less than 10 inches of rain and less years above 10 inches of rain, but it's about half and half. So 11 of 24 El Nino years, which is a little less than 50%, are above that normal rainfall, which I went with about 10 inches for. A neutral year is 6 of 24, and a La Nina is 6 of 25. And all of this data is only dating back to 1950. So 1950 to today, so 2023, well, technically it would be through last winter, is the data that I'm looking at for this. Hey, Brenton. Hope you're having a great day too. I love interrupting my train of thought with the comments. It's kind of fun. But that's what we're looking at. So hopefully that makes sense. What I want you to get out of that is, yes, with El Nino, there are true signs that we can typically see wetter winters. But again, that's not a guarantee. But the signs do show that the chance of having a pretty wet winter is greater with El Nino than it is with La Nina. Okay, so that's what you should get out of this. This scary rain record on Halloween. So only 5 of the last 134 years have we recorded more than an inch of rain on Halloween. So that's good news for costumes like the Mummy, where if you're wrapped up in toilet paper or something. I don't know if anyone's ever done that trick-or-treating. That sounds stressful, but your wraps would be fine. They wouldn't get too wet. But anything above an inch, they're gonna get really wet. Now, last year it was kind of a gloomy, kind of light rainfall during Halloween. I'm sure Mummy did not like that. And this year is actually trending toward a similar pattern where we might kind of have some light rainfall that doesn't add up to much in the forecast. When it comes to our climatology, our warmest Halloween on record is 95 degrees. The average is 81 with a low of 61. So a high of 81 and a low of 61, right? So where are we stacking up this year? It looks like we're gonna have a cooler than normal Halloween. So start preparing your costumes now, because I am confident in a cold front moving through. Now the exact timing, how much rain we wind up with, will the rain in for trick-or-treating? Those are all details that need to be fine-tuned, but it does look like we'll get some light rain on Halloween. In the forecast posted on KIIITV.com, you can really see, why that rainfall would happen. It's called an overrunning pattern, and that's likely what's going to happen behind this cold front, where we get really cool air at the surface, but warmer air is still aloft, and that just creates this light, steady rainfall that we can't really get rid of. But it looks like the cold front will move through next Monday, which will have Tuesday's temperatures on Halloween, not this Tuesday, next Tuesday's temperatures, possibly even in the upper 60s. Signs are starting to trend into the upper 60s, but low 70s for now, to be safe, is what it looks like for a high, and lows into the 50s. So it is going to be cooler. Remember, normal is a low of 61. So that's a normal low. And so we're trending cooler than that with some light rainfall. Breezy conditions are going to be possible, so keep that in mind for your Halloween costumes. And then if trick-or-treating is not your thing and maybe you want to go surf on Halloween, not at night. Well, it's up to you. But 3 to 5 feet waves are going to be possible. Tuesday, the wind will and the waves will begin shifting out the northeast also. So I love the dancing mummy too. I'm going to be showing him a lot more on First Edition as we dive into some of those climate facts and that Halloween forecast, how the past Halloweens have played out. How many Halloweens are we below normal or cooler? So yeah, we'll be breaking that down as well. Frightfully cool and possibly wet. Correct, Brenton. So anyway, this is why I have the Halloween forecast the way it is. We can go into that. And make sure you are posting any questions that you might have so I can get to them. I'm probably about 5 minutes or so from being done with this. But we've got a cold front that tries to sneak through Wednesday into Thursday, but it's going to weaken. Most of the heavy rainfall will be to our north, but we've got that moisture funneling in ahead of that system. And so we may see a few spotty showers from kind of outflow, especially from any type of mesoscale convective system that does form with that front. So Thursday, our rainfall chances kind of trend a little up, but still more so scattered than widespread. As we get into Friday, this is now getting into our long range model data, which is not as fine-tuned or detailed. It's not high resolution, it's low resolution. So it looks like widespread rain, but that's actually going to trend more toward more spotty activity on Friday. So I went isolated for the forecast on Friday. We have even lighter green colors on Saturdays. So if you do have plans to head downtown for the Dia de los Muertos festival, the trend is less and less rain, which is good news there. How's the weather going to look on Saturday? Ooh, so we got Dia de los Muertos. Sophie is preparing for a trunk or treat on Saturday. Saturday is looking pretty good. Again, there is a chance of rain like you're seeing here, but most of that looks to be to our north and east, and any rain that does fall would be very, very light and shouldn't have any major soaking effect on any costumes or candy or things like that. As we get into Sunday, Sunday's looking drier, but Monday that front slides through. And so behind the front, this is when we get into that overrunning pattern where you see all of the rainfall behind the front instead of along or ahead of the front. So that means we're going to get stuck in a pattern where we're a little damp heading into Tuesday. Now the rain could start to clear out by trick-or-treating on Tuesday. I didn't move the front down, but this is just to look ahead because I didn't show this on First Edition this morning. But if the front is strong enough and our overrunning pattern becomes weak enough, we could see drier conditions by trick-or-treating. But during the morning and afternoon of Halloween does look like we will be rather damp. So wind, also I mentioned being breezy. We've got a strong southeast wind, which is kicking those waves up. But then on Monday, the wind shifts out of the northeast, and it's still breezy though, 10 to 20 miles per hour. Those wave heights on average about 4 feet all week long. So we've got lots of waves, but we also have lots of wind to go with it. So that's not always that fun if you're trying to surf or fish on the jetties, because then it's just splashing on all the rocks. 7-day forecast, here's the temperatures. So Monday, I've been knocking it down. By tomorrow morning, I might even knock it down more based on how strong I think that cold front is. But Monday's the day of change, it looks like. So temperatures will be falling, possibly during the day on Monday. And then Tuesday is trending cooler behind that front. So that's what you have to look forward to. I hope everyone has a terrific Tuesday. And don't forget to make sure you've downloaded the KIII 3 News app to keep on your phone. Tell your friends that maybe don't have cable. That's a way to keep up with local news. And have a great day.